and welcome to The Chat, our new podcast at Chatham County. It's a really exciting day for us because this is the first podcast we've ever done from Chatham County, and it's the first in an ongoing series about what you can learn about your county and the services that are provided. I'm Catherine Glaspie. I'm the Public Information Director here at Chatham County, Georgia, and I'm joined by an awesome crew. Abby Murphy is my co-host, and she is our public information specialist, guru, graphic designer extraordinaire, my sanity, everything else that is included in that. Abby, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I didn't expect that.
See, this is what happens on the chat when you throw things at people and they don't know what's going to happen.
Well, I've been working for Chatham County for a little over 4 years now, and I started out initially at the recycling center out on Eisenhower Drive. I was the outreach coordinator there, and since then I have moved on to work here for about 2 years in public information, and it's definitely been a wild ride.
It's always a wild ride in public information. You never know what you're going to do from day to day. So that is, it is, we're jacks of all trades, right?
Yes.
So also joining us today on our podcast, who you can't see right this second, is Nick Beard, our video producer. Nick, are you around?
I am here. Hey, guys.
Hey, Nick.
Nick is doing all of the filming. He's doing all the editing and producing for this piece. Nick, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I worked in local broadcasting news for 5 years before joining Chatham County as the video producer. I've been here for about 2.5 years, and I've enjoyed every minute of it.
And, you know, we do a lot of various projects here at Chatham County in the Public Information Office. And a lot of the programming that you have seen on our social media, the videos, the live chats and things like that, are all Nick and Abby. That's all they're doing. They are my creative people. I'm so glad to have them on board with me, and I'm glad to have them here in this podcast. I think that you will see their opinions and their insight to things that I don't see. So I'm really honored to have them here with me. Abby, we've got a lot of things to talk about in this series. Mm-hmm. Like I said, when I thought of this series originally, when we started talking about doing a podcast, I was like, okay, well, this is like 10 episodes, and then we'll find something else to do. But okay, somebody's phone is like, Siri is going off. That's incredibly weird, but we're just going to move on. When I thought about this podcast and it only being, I was like, it's limited. Mm-hmm. But as we really started looking into it and developing it and mm-hmm. thinking about the topics that we could talk about for what residents need to know, what visitors need to know, and what services we provide as mm-hmm. a county government, this almost looks endless. It's like we can go on forever.
Yes, there's always a lot going on in the county, a lot of events, a lot of special programs. So we really want to make sure that everyone knows what Chatham County has to offer.
So let's talk about a little bit of the things that we're going to probably be talking about in just like maybe the next 6 to 8 weeks. We're definitely going to do some Government 101. Mm-hmm. I think that most people don't understand the difference between a city and a county government. Mm-hmm. And what different services they provide. Mm-hmm. When I came to the county, I learned a lot. Mm-hmm. Did you learn a lot of things that we do?
Yes, I did. And I've also learned from going to conferences and talking to other people representing different municipalities across the country, is that it can be a little bit different everywhere. So it totally makes sense that it can be confusing, because if you've moved from one place and city and counties handled a certain way, it can be different here compared to where you're from.
And a lot of places have combined government now.
They do.
There's a couple here in Georgia that have combined government, so those services definitely are joined, mm-hmm. and that is not the case in Chatham County. Mm-hmm. So there are things that we provide as an overall county to every resident, and then there's things that we provide to our SSD, our Special Service District, that we wouldn't provide to the county as an overall. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that at the end of this podcast. But some of the other things that we're going to want to talk about, animal services comes to mind. I'm passionate about animals. Everybody who knows me knows that. And I think it's important for people to know what our animal services does. They think a lot of times that those folks are just dealing with stray animals or feral cats or lost animals. But it's more than that. They have an adoption center.
They do.
And we get to go out there quite often and love on animals, which is probably like the most fun thing that I ever get to do in my job. I've been told I'm not allowed to take anything home anymore.
It's very tempting.
I do have 4 fosters at the moment, but they will be going back to animal services to be adopted. So we're going to have Dr. Jake Harper here to talk about the adoption center. He's probably going to talk about microchipping and rabies vaccinations, because those are things that are very important for our community to do, as well as what they do when they handle bite cases and different legal things that they have to deal with as animal services. But I do want to mention real quick that every Friday, right now, probably through the end of the year, they have an adoption special. Free Adoption Fridays. So normally adoptions for cats are $10 and dogs are $70, plus a $5 fee for the rabies tag. But on Fridays, it's that adoption fee is going to be waived, so it'll only be $5 for the tag. And what services come, or what things come with an adoption?
Well, with the adoption, there are their vaccinations. They are spay or neutered. They have the age-appropriate, what is age-appropriate?
They have age-appropriate shots, and they have age-appropriate tests like heartworms and FIV, FIP for cats.
Correct. So you can go to Animal Services Facebook page, and they have dogs and cats that are currently up for adoption. So that's a really good way to see what is available. Of course, they have more available than that as well. So go visit Animal Services on Friday. You might find your next cat or dog.
And they are open from 1 to 4:30 p.m. Monday
through Sunday, excluding Wednesday.
Exactly.
Yes.
It's always hard for me to say that because of the excluding Wednesday.
Yes.
I have to really think about that in my mind. So definitely go out and look at some of the animals, see if there's anybody that you want to add to your family. And some of the other things that we're going to talk about, Abby, one of the things when you first started with my office, I think it was probably within 30 days, I came into your office and I said, oh, guess what? We're going to have to start our own police department, and you get to do the logo. So when they decided to split the city and the county police department and reinstitute the county police department as a standalone department, we were a part of the team that helped to build that out and transition it back. And that was a monumental task for us, both in the PIO office and in the county itself. But we did it, and we did it in 6 months.
We did.
And we have an amazing chief and amazing officers, and we're going to have the chief come on the show to kind of give us an overview of what the police department does, who they service, and the really important things that you need to know about that police department. But I think we're also, it's a good time to have our officers that are our neighborhood officers come on and talk to us about some tips and tricks and things like that. So we'll be interspersing them over the next couple weeks and see what we can find there in the police department to get into.
Yeah. And additionally, some other topics we want to discuss. Our Parks and Recreation Department. Chatham County has a lot of beautiful parks, and those parks are unique. There are different activities you can do at parks around the county. Just this last weekend, I went to Lake Mare, and there was a tournament of the remote-controlled race cars. There's a little dirt track for the remote-controlled race cars, and I just sat there and watched it. It was so cool. I'd never been to a park that had that before.
Yeah, we do have some really interesting things in
Yeah.
our parks. When I first started with Chatham County, I remember I was looking for topics to put on the TV channel, government channel here, and I went to Parks and Rec on their site, and I was like, wait a minute, there's a park near where I grew up, and I lived there for 25 years. And I never knew that park was there. So there's a lot of parks that people aren't aware of that Chatham County owns, takes care of. And recreation is such a huge thing for us here. They've got a whole bunch of programs
They do.
over at Parks and Recreation.
A lot of children's sports. They have a lot of tournaments. I mean, it's really great, all of the opportunities they have for kids to get involved in after-school sports.
Absolutely, it is. We also have a community center.
Yes, the Frank G. Murray Community Center. They have so much going on. Every day or every month when they send us their calendar of all their activities, I just am always amazed at what all they have. And just went out there a few weeks ago for their trunk or treat with my little girl, and it was a lot of fun. They had zombie Zumba, and she had a blast. So it's a really great community center that Chatham County has.
It is. And Nick, I think that your daughter also went to trunk or treat, didn't she?
Yes, she did, and she loved it. Like, they just have so many opportunities for kids and adults of all ages.
I think that's wonderful. Abby, we have so many other departments to talk about too. You mentioned early on when you were talking about your background with Chatham County, you came from another department.
Public Works.
And it's probably one of our most forward-facing departments.
Yes.
People interact with Public Works more than they interact with other departments.
Yes. And they take care of a lot of issues that happen in unincorporated Chatham County, such as potholes or any sort of drainage issues. If you have dry trash or bulk pickup, those are all services that are provided to unincorporated Chatham County. And they have an app, See Click Fix. So if there's something that needs to be attended to, you can take a picture. You download the app, you can take a picture, and you can report what is needed to be done, and someone from Public Works will take care of it and contact you.
Yeah, and they let you know when that service ticket is closed so that you can go back and make sure that the work has been done, which it has been, but it's done to the way that it needs to be done. And I think that's a great app to have.
Yes. And additionally, we will definitely have someone from the recycling center out on Eisenhower to talk about everything that is going on there, because they are doing so much. They have so many activities going on. They do educational tours. They have an art gallery for artists that use recycled materials, and they have some of the best customer service around.
And it's a really easy place to go and drop off your recyclables. You just pull in. They'll help you unload everything and get it into the right bins and those kinds of things for people that don't have curbside recycling. So I think it's a great facility, and of course the folks that work there are amazing. You know, SPLOST just passed on the referendum this week, so we're getting ready to go into SPLOST 7 in 2020. And I think that we need to have some people from our engineering department on this show to talk about the SPLOST projects and what we're going to see happening over the next 4 to 5 years. SPLOST does so many things for us. It takes care of our roads, our drainage, our canals. It helps us to build buildings that are for public use. The trial court building is a good example. We'll be building that next to the Coleman Courthouse, which is kind of overflowing. There's so many courts in it, so this will allow them to kind of spread out a little bit. And this will be state-of-the-art court system for Superior Court and State Court. I think that's important. There's some other buildings that we're building with SPLOST, and some that we're building without SPLOST that we have put in the budget. And I think it's important to talk about those facilities as well. Engineering does a lot with our roads, repaving our roads, making sure that everything is safe. And they have so many projects. I don't even understand everything that engineering does. Every time I get on the elevator in our building and I see somebody from engineering, I'm like, now tell me what it is you do, because I'm not sure what everybody in engineering does.
Yeah.
And it's really vast what they do.
It is. I helped put together a presentation that represented some of the past projects that SPLOST has provided funding for. And I was just amazed at everything that the engineering department was able to accomplish.
Mm-hmm. And going on to other topics that we're going to cover, I had no idea what the process was to go get a permit to build something or when I need a permit to build something. So we're going to have our building safety and regulation team on to talk about those kinds of permits and what process you need to go through. Because I think that can be a little bit confusing for people.
Yeah, it'll be good to help kind of demystify that, because I definitely, if someone asked me right now, I would not be able to tell them the process.
I would be able to direct them to the website where there's forms.
Yes.
So I think we really do. It would be helpful for us to learn, but it would also be helpful for our public to learn, because you might need to build something on your property. I mean, if you have to build a garage or something like that, you might need to know how to apply for that permit. If you have an event or you own a restaurant, you might need an alcohol sales license. So that's something that they also do there. And again, that process can be a little bit mysterious. So I think this will help to debunk some rumors and figure out what people need to do.
I sure hope so.
I hope so. Yeah. it would be great. I would like to be able to explain that better.
Yes.
And then also we have other departments like our finance department that puts together our budget and our purchasing department. You know, if somebody has a small business or a large business and they want to bid on something here at the county, some project that we're doing, there's a process for that. Yep. So being able to talk to our purchasing folks about how that works, I think is a great tool to our public as well.
Yes, absolutely.
So we have like 23 departments, I believe it is, that report to our county manager. And so we have at least 23 shows.
Yeah.
At least.
At least.
But then we also have departments that are agencies that are, I always think of those 23 departments as like sister departments, and then we have our cousins and our nieces and nephews, and those are places like our sheriff's department, our coroner's office, the DA's office, the court systems. They're all a part of Chatham County as a whole, but they're not run necessarily by the Board of Commissioners because they have their own elected officials, their own constitutional officers.
Yes.
But all of that is stuff that our public needs to know about, our residents need to know about, and those are going to be guests on this show as well. So I think we've got a lot to talk about and a lot of things to explore over the next 6, 8, 10 months, maybe even further.
Yes.
Sounds like it's a lot further.
Yes.
But Abby, let's talk about Chatham County a little bit.
Yeah, I know a common question is people don't necessarily know if they live in unincorporated Chatham County or if they live in a municipality. I definitely got a lot of questions when I worked at the recycling center where people thought their recycling was from Chatham County, but it was from a different municipality. And so an easy way to determine that is if you go to the Savannah area GIS, which stands for Geographic Information System. You go to that website, sagis.org. You can type in your address, right-click that, and then from there, I kind of get fuzzy on the details.
So if you right-click on it, a box will pop up, and that box will have different things about that plot of land, and I might not be saying that quite right, but one of the things there, if you're in a municipality, it's going to have the letters of the municipality, like for Savannah it's SAV, and then a dash, and then like where I live it would be -6 for the 6th district, and then it will also have my county commissioner, which in my case is also District 6. And so you can click on either one of those to find out more about who your elected official is. So that's one way that you can find out if you live in unincorporated Chatham or if you live in a municipality. Because if you live in unincorporated Chatham, there's going to be no municipality numbers there. And sometimes we find, like the neighborhood that I live in, if you go 8 houses to the right of me, you live in the unincorporated Chatham County.
Mm-hmm.
But the 8 houses next to me, we're all in the city of Savannah. So
it can definitely be confusing.
It can be very confusing. It can be confusing to know which government you need to call about services. It can be confusing about property taxes. It can be even confusing when you go vote, because my neighbors are going to be voting in a municipality election, whereas the person that lives on the next street over is just going to be county. And we may all have something on the ballot, or we may not. So I think it's really important for people to have that resource to know where they easily find out where they live.
Yes. So,
in thinking about that government 101 type idea and the difference between municipalities and county government, let's talk about the makeup of the county just a little bit. Just for a quick little brief history lesson, Chatham County was created on February 2nd, 1777 as one of 5 counties, the first 5 counties in the state of Georgia. And if you have children, you probably are very familiar with that date because that is the Georgia Day Parade. So kids are always marching in that parade. And we have about 290,000 people in our county.
We're a sizable county.
And we have 8 municipalities. So going from east to west, we have Tybee Island, the town of Thunderbolt, Vernonburg, city of Savannah, Pooler, Port Wentworth, Garden City, and Bloomingdale. So a lot of different areas, a lot of fast growth areas. Pooler is exploding right now. Lots of new neighborhoods there, lots of new business there. And then you have some areas that are expanding out a little bit more into area that they previously haven't had residential area. And now they're putting in more neighborhoods. So I think we're seeing an overall increase to the number of people living in Chatham County. We also have a lot of visitors to our area. In 2017, the Savannah Area Chamber of Commerce said that we had about 14.1 million visitors in that year, which kind of blew me away. That's a lot of people. Our tourism business is, huge here.
Oh, yeah.
It is a destination place. I've found that out over time. And 8 million of those people spend at least a night here. And about 6 million of them are day trippers. Those are people that live in surrounding counties that come in for one reason or another. But we're a thriving area. And that 290,000 is kind of questionable for me at this moment because we're getting ready to do the census. We are currently working with the Complete Count Committee on working on doing the marketing tools and those kinds of things. But why do you think census is so important for us?
Well, it helps to provide funding for our county for things like grants that help support programs that are really important to our residents. And also, it's just good to know how many people are in our county. How many people are we helping out? Right. Are we providing services for?
Absolutely. And I think representation is a big one too. It may be that we have enough people that we need another state representative, we need another federal representative, or local. It might be something where they need to redraw district lines and add a commissioner or a council person. Maybe they need to redraw those lines because people have shifted a little bit. Or maybe we have an area that has actually reduced in size because people have moved to another area in the county, which can happen when you have that many municipalities and a lot of growth. So the census helps with all those things. We have a kickoff coming up in January. And so people will start seeing a lot more about the census. And then in March, they'll be getting a postcard in the mail reminding them that they're going to need to go online April 1st and fill out all their census paperwork.
Because April 1st, it's not a joke.
April 1st. It's not a joke. That is true. And, it is all online this time.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of different.
Yeah, it is.
There are some caveats to that. People can call in and do the census. They can request a paper form.
Mm-hmm.
But primarily it's going to be all online.
Yeah.
Which should be an interesting thing for us. I mean, that's all new.
Yes. So you'll be hearing more about that in the coming months because it is super important. And also it's good for everybody to know that, 72 years until that information can be released.
Right.
So your information is protected.
Right. All information for the census is protected for 72 years.
Mm-hmm.
So no other government agency will be able to get into it. People can't use it for genealogy purposes. It's just not available.
Yeah.
And anybody who's into genealogy, because we're all waiting for the next census to be released next year, so we can find out where our relatives were during that census. I believe it's the 1940 census that will be coming out, but I might be wrong about that.
I never even thought about that. Genealogy.
Yep. Genealogy is a big one for census records. I use them a lot when I do that. But so I think census is something that you'll be hearing more about on this program in the future as we start to do our kickoff and really encourage people to fill that out because it is so important to the community to make sure that our census numbers are right and that we don't get undercounted.
Absolutely.
All right. So what else do we need to talk about today?
I think we covered pretty much everything. Just don't forget free Adoption Fridays happening at Animal Services. Check out their Facebook page, see what's available. Anything else you'd like to add?
Just that this is going to be a weekly podcast. So every Friday, we will be putting out a new podcast. Be looking at Facebook to find out how you can find our podcast. And we're really looking forward to it. We're going to delve more into that Government 101 when the county manager can join us for an interview. And we're really looking forward to this. This is a lot of fun.
Yes, and we're really hoping that this will be informative and that you walk away with just something new that you've learned. Just one thing at least.
Just one thing. I actually learned something when I was putting it together, so I'm sure that people are going to be learning. Nick, what's your final thought for the day?
I think you ladies pretty much covered everything. As you said, we look forward to doing this show and hope that you guys join us every week.
All right. Well, join us next week on the chat.